it's Karen from Black Swan Journals, and today I have another tutorial and a flip through to share with you. And I'm working in my self-care journal. I have a creative but yet personal way, an idea to let things go or rewrite your past in a way that you would have preferred it to be. And recently I saw a video on Janet Nash's channel here on YouTube, and she was making something that she was calling pockets of peace. And it had such a lovely ring to it. And I had this idea that I wanted to rewrite some things of my past in my journal. I found my spread. Here's my spread. I love it. This is the area I want to work on. Here's a piece of dyed paper that I made that I've been working on, folding on, working around folding already, trying to come up with some kind of fold. And I did. So I'm going to redo it now. But anyhow, my idea is a play off of Janet's, and I'm calling it Pockets of Harmony. But my idea was to rewrite some of my past on very special journal cards that we're going to make here together today, and rewrite them on those journal cards and put them on the spread that I picked out with you a few moments ago. So here I'm starting to fold my first pocket. We're going to make 3 pockets, 3 different pockets together. This is the first one. This one I just kind of came up with on my own, kind of folding and refolding, so you can see different creases and lines I've already made until I settled on this particular idea. So here I'm just sort of using my bone folder to work out a previous fold that I don't want anymore, just to help flatten that fold. And now I'm going to fold down the corner to meet the other corner. And it's important for the two to line up, like I was just pointing out. And then make your fold. If you have a bone folder, that's great. If not, you can just use your finger. You can use the back of your scissors. You can use a variety of things. So now flip your paper over vertically and do the same thing. Fold down the top and meet the corner to the edge and crease your paper. And fold it back over vertically so that it's the same way it was before. And now I want to fold up the bottom to create the pocket, but I want to line up that piece I was just pointing out to you so that that is flush with the bottom. That's what I chose to do. I'm sure there's many different ways you could do this, but that's what I was playing around with. So here I want to make the pocket angular, and I'm considering folding this, cutting it, tearing it, just to create more of an angle pocket. But you could do anything with it. You could keep it straight across, but I choose to tear it, as you see here. And then I've inked around all my edges so that you can see the outline a little bit better. And here's where we're going to glue to create some of the pockets. And here you could glue this straight across. I chose to glue it a little farther down to create the tiniest of pockets right above my left index finger. But that's not necessary. I just like creating little mini openings anywhere I can to a certain extent. So here I'm showing you that you need to glue this area right here if you want to create a little side pocket. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm rocking the pink today. I've got the pink on today. The pink and blue. My daughter's going to have a baby soon. I'm wondering if this means she'll have twins, a boy and a girl. um, that's so old-fashioned of me, pink and blue. Boy and girl. I'm showing my age here. But anyhow, so if you glue where I'm showing you, you create several pockets. Right here, there's another little pocket. So right here, I'm showing you with the bone folder the pockets that we've created. So there's one very large one here. The little mini one here that really isn't necessary, but I did it anyway. Here's another decent sized large one here that you can go up and down with a large journaling tag. And then on the side here, you don't have to do this. You could glue this shut if you wanted to, but I did create a couple of pockets on the side here as well. So there's one pocket that we will load up with journaling tags in the near future. Here's another piece of paper that we're going to make another loaded pocket. And this loaded pocket, I literally followed, well, no, I didn't literally follow it. She did some different things, but I basically followed it from Pink Monarch prints, and prints like not prints as in princess and prince, but prints as in paper. And I will link her channel in the description box so that you could check it out if you'd like to. The difference that she does is her top piece that she folds down, she cuts it decoratively, probably with a paper punch. And I don't think she does that on camera. I think it's already done when she comes to the video. But so anyhow, I love her idea of her pockets. So check out her channel. She shows how to do this pocket and two others. But basically, I'm just free flowing. She may give better tutorial. She may have measurements. I didn't really truly listen to it. I just kind of watched it and then just kind of did it myself. You may be more of the type that would like measurements and and I'm more of the type that I definitely like to measure. There's sometimes where I'm very anal retentive and I need to measure. But there are so many times where I don't want anything to do with the measuring, and I'm just going to free flow and kind of feel it out and get it myself, I guess. um, but so basically you're creating these three little tucks, these little pockets here by folding them down. And you're left, if you use single-sided paper like I did, if you choose scrapbook paper, you could use a book page that would have two sides printed on it already. You could use a paper that you painted on both sides. You could paint on the other side of this first. But anyhow, what I'm going to do is use old book pages to cover up the white. And so like I was saying on her channel, her edge was not torn like I just did right there. It was decoratively cut, and I just chose to tear mine and just to do something a little different. You could cut it, you could add trims, or you could add another piece of paper, washi tape. You could just do so many things. So here's that old book I was talking about, and I'm not fussy about taking it out. I'm just ripping it out, and now I'm just using the my hands and the piece of paper beneath it is the pocket, and I'm just measuring it, the size that I know it will need to be by covering it up. And then my ruler here, I think you can see it, but on the edge it does have a little bit of a metal guide, so it's great for tearing. So now I'm just sizing it up, deciding which way I want to put it in, if I want the torn edge on the outside or what I want to do. And I also need to know how long or short to make it. So I tuck it in there, I glue it down. It looks so pretty. I love her idea. It really looks nice. I think she puts trims and things on hers. I'm not sure, but like I said, sky's the limit. You could do so many things. Or just keep it very, very simple and just a folded piece of paper to reflect more of an origami feel. I find it so odd that I absolutely love origami, but I also love adorning things to death. They're so opposite. I don't know. I'm weird. Um, but yeah, so just fitting the paper, more book page in there, cutting it to size, gonna glue it down, make sure it fits. It's a little too tall. So here I've got some wax paper or grease paper, oven paper, and I'm deciding which side I want to glue down. And then I realize it's easier to open it back up and glue it this way. Ah, brilliancy. Finally. um, so yeah, so to create the pockets, we're going to glue down right now. And once you do this, you're you're finalizing and you're creating your pockets for your journaling tags to go in. So again, if anybody's new and they're curious and they're at that stage where they're attracted to this but they don't understand what to do with it, um, basically it's a creative way, an inspiring way. It's like a visual, exciting way to journal. And so it's not just blank paper with lines or no lines where you're writing. For me, it's like, ooh, look at all this gorgeous paper and made in these creative ways and decorated so pretty. And it just is such a lovely way to be able to jot down memories in life, even to do lists. And making the journal is part of relaxation for me. So, and art therapy for me, a creative outlet for me. And then when the journal is done, there's so many uses, just everyday lists. Today we're going to do something pretty heavy and heartfelt, but and you can do everything in between. Just document memories. So anyhow, we finished up the second pocket. Sorry to end on that heavy note, but we've got to talk about the lesson here. Um, and I'm creating something that's all over the internet, the tuxedo pocket. So you can just look it up. You're gonna get a ton of people doing it. It's nothing new. Um, so basically, I painted with just chalk paint on the back side of the paper and let it dry. And then I took some bubble wrap and used that little bit of dye ink there that I was showing you in that little teardrop cube teardrop cube, um, and creating some really cool marks along the edge because that edge will be seen later flipped up as a pocket. So I'm strategically placing marks on the places that will be flipped up later to create the tuxedo. So I leave a lot of this in for anybody new because I am hoping that this helps beginners. But if anybody's watching it that's seasoned, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really, really, really love starting to become a part of this community. And this is exactly why I started. This channel is to be communal and build friendships, um, teach if that's the case. I'm happy to. If not, I'm happy to just be a part of the community. So I'm open. So, like I said, I was strategically placing more marks on where we are going to fold flaps later. So now we're going to do our folding. I let it dry. This is how it came out. So you can't really tell, but this other side has a lovely little mint green Swiss dot print. And that side, like I'm saying, the one that you're seeing now, has a lovely print on it already. And the other side was white, so that's why we did the technique on the white side. And you can leave your papers white. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I just like to get crazy and go nuts because honestly, it's relaxation for me, like I was saying earlier. So now I was doing a little bit of measuring for you just in case you're interested. You're basically folding your paper in thirds, but at the bottom you're folding your flap up, and that's going to create your pocket. But you're folding your paper in thirds. And there's really no rule so far. But you can just go ahead and crease now if you'd like to, like I was showing you. But I'm just going to go ahead and give you some measurements here just in case. So it's about 3.5 before, on the left before you do your first fold. And it's about almost 4, and then 3.5 again. So, and this is loose. You don't need to stick to that. Just as long as they meet edges and they fold up. But this part is important or the tuxedo look doesn't come out quite right. So what I mean here is this part you do want to pay attention and make sure that your top and bottom corners meet the left edge of the paper. See where I'm pointing? And now we're creasing. So you want to make sure that these meet up. If your triangular little piece doesn't meet up, it won't look quite like a tuxedo lapel when you're finished. So you're going to do the same on the other one, making sure that it folds to the edges. And so now it looks like a little lapel on a tuxedo. Ooh, so formal. I love it. So creative. So old hat to so many. I realize this. But it's exciting to me. I love it. So here I'm gluing it down to create a pocket. You could glue this down entirely, like the bottom as well of the triangle, the lapel piece, but I leave it open just to sneak a little, I don't know, a little word maybe I want to sneak in there on a piece of paper, and then glue it shut forever. Maybe, maybe not, so I just leave it open just in case. So doing the same on the other side. Here I just decide to do it to both edges. Sometimes I feel like I need a little extra, depending on what comes out of the bottle what kind of paper it is, what's on the paper. So now you could close it either way. I'm just showing you. I decided to go with this. And I love it. I love how it came out. It almost looks like honeycomb or um bicycle tracks or like fat. Do you guys know what fat bikes are? They're new to me, but anyhow. So now we're going to ink blend. If you know about ink blending or you're good at ink blending, just go by this whole thing. But I'm leaving this in, the first one anyway, because I just want to show people how to do it in case they don't know. So here I'm using not junk mail, I'm using actual cardstock. I'm using smooth, heavyweight cardstock. And I can link it in the description. I got it on Amazon, and you can use like a Bristol cardstock that you get at a craft store or art store. That works excellent, but it's more expensive. Um, or you can use what I'm using, or if you've got some packaging that is like heavy and has some smooth surface to it, give it a go. It might take the ink really, really well for blending. But the idea is you need something smooth so the ink blends and sits on top and doesn't soak into the paper. As it soaks in, it makes more heavy marks and doesn't move well. So you want a paper that's smooth. So now I'm using the second ink color and getting ink on the dauber. I end up getting ink all over my fingers because I try to reduce and reuse, and I only have one wooden handle. I've seen other crafters that have like the foam pad on each color on a wooden handle, so they have like 30 or 20 wooden handles, and that's awesome. But I don't know, I can't bring myself to do it. No judgment, no judgment at all. We're all on our own journeys, totally. But I end up the drawback is, and maybe this is my lesson, I don't know, or maybe not. Maybe I'm helping the environment. Who knows? But the drawback is my fingers get inky as I pull off the pads. I tried using like tweezers to pull them off and tools to pull them off and not get dirty. I don't know, it didn't work. So finger tool, yeah, hand tool. Uh, but so yeah, you know, if anyone's got a great solution to that, drop me a comment. Let me know. Let the community know. It's so great to share. That cliche saying, sharing is caring. It's so beautiful, though. Sharing really is caring. It's so beautiful to give and not hold. So now what I'm doing, if you're new and you're still watching this, I'm taking the original first color and I'm going back over the second color to blend the two together. It's heavy, heavy with ink here, very slippery, very saturated. So now I'm going back in with the second ink. Obviously, I've changed out my ink pads to the right colors. And I'm blending down to get more of that green by itself without blending it with something else. Also, I'm creating an area that the next color is going to attach onto, but I want to create original color in between each blend of each color. So that's why I go back and forth with the ink colors. This particular one, Evergreen Bough, it's the most lovely sort of French blue color, like green blue color. And it's very juicy right out of the pack. I just opened that. But others I buy and open right off the shelf are dry as a bone. I don't get it. it's got to be due to the compounds of the earth and the inks and the binding materials that they use. I don't really know. But you can add glycerin, spritz with water to the ink pads. You can buy the re-inkers, which would be silly to do when you just bought the pad. But anyhow, there's ways to freshen up that pad and get it juicy. But this one's juicy right off the bat, which I love. Because the reason why I love it, the juicier they are, the easier they are to blend with. Big tip right there. If you're frustrated with blending, it took me a long time to learn how to blend. I was very frustrated for a long time, years ago. So, in case I haven't mentioned, I started off card making. I've been card making for probably, I don't know, like 12 to 15 years, maybe longer. Um, but that's why I know a lot of these techniques that I'm bringing to junk journaling. I am somewhat new to junk journaling. I just started a YouTube channel a few months ago for junk journaling, art journaling, painting, creating, relaxing, ways to take care of mental health. But I am bringing some techniques of card making that I know, and this is one of them. But I'm a different person now, and I love junk journaling because it's very freeing. And card making can be more expertise, and I'm not so much that person anymore. And I love it. For me personally, it's freeing and makes me feel happy and makes me feel flow. So, but I do still love some of these techniques, and I love blending them with junk journaling. So I'm somewhat new to junk journaling, and my first junk journal ever, flip through, is on my channel. It's my very first video. But I'm not new to a lot of techniques. But I've been watching junk journaling on YouTube, various creators, for about 10 years as relaxation at night to just wind down. So anyhow, I go over it some more until I'm happy with my blend. I let it dry. Now here it is dry. I hope that was helpful to anybody new with ink blending. If you have any questions at all, I will look at the comments and answer them. And I can give you further explanation in a comment if you would like. It took me so long to figure things out by watching, and it's just so much better to just start doing it and learning. But I have to say, it's helpful to know things too, because if you get frustrated, you might quit. So it's helpful to know some tips as well. And I'm so happy to share those tips with you to keep you going and not get frustrated and quit. Keep you going. It's so important for a lot of us humans. So here I'm not showing the whole thing anymore because it's probably going to get boring. um, but so yeah, here's a second combination of inks that I blended. And now here's a third combination of inks that I'm blending. All distress oxides, all blues and greens. And I left all the colors right there so you could see the names if you want a screenshot. But I do always go down and so I can get some clean original color before I blend, like I mentioned before. And then I blend the two and see what the two give you. The two inks together, if you truly blend, will give you another color. And some of the colors don't blend well, and they make what a lot of artists call mud. And mud just means sort of like a brown, murky color. And other colors blend beautifully and make another color. And learning color theory or just buying a color wheel really helps. And the color wheel can help you cheat. You can keep it right on your desk, you can move it around, and you can see what colors you'll get. But better yet, just buy some cheap paints, start mixing them together, and you'll learn what you get for mixing colors. and it's so fun, so relaxing. So here's the 3 pockets we made. I had a marble napkin here, just a cocktail napkin. I got at Walmart. It was super cheap. It didn't glue that great. I didn't love working with it, but I guess I've worked with other napkins that must have been better quality or different materials or binders or something because they were funner to work with. This one was just a little bit hard, more fussy, thinner to glue down and work with. But anyway, first I'm using some acrylic paints here just to color up the back of the journaling cards. And this is the same cardstock I used before that I'm going to link down below in the description for you. And just some different ways that I've cleaned off my brush in the past. And they kind of leave little, modern looking flowers. So, I'm no painter, but it's fun. And they look like sort of modern flowers, roses, peonies, whatever, you know, lollipops. I don't know. They're look pretty to me. I love doing that. And here I'm just filling in around the back ground and mixed in some water to make the paint a little thinner so that the little marks I made in the front, in the foreground, pop out in the foreground and the watery paint washes away into the background. Sort of, kind of. That's what I'm going for anyway in my thought process. And it's all just learning, It's learning just by doing. So now I'm going to set these aside to dry, just different ways I used my brush to make some marks. This is the side I'm going to journal on, by the way, that I'm going to write on, the gold side. So here they are dry. And so now on the other side, the white side, I want to make it beautiful. I want to make it inspiring. I want to make this whole spread really special to me. I want to make it just from me, from my hand, from my heart. The napkin isn't from me, but the other things are. So anyhow, um, I'm decoupaging the napkin onto the other side of the journaling card, in this case on 3 of them, on 3 of the journaling cards. We end up making 9 journaling cards together, 3 for each pocket because we have 3 pockets. So here I'm just using a little bit of water to make the napkin tear easily because it wasn't tearing so well before. And I've seen other people do that when I used to watch videos to relax. Now that I'm making videos, I never have time to really watch them anymore. There's a few that I watch, people that I support, that I love, but like Janet Nash is one of them, but it's just hard now that I create to really watch them. But that's good because it keeps my art from my own heart. And sometimes when you watch people, you end up doing what they're doing. And it's not your fault. It's just, I think, a human nature. So, don't feel bad if you're ever doing that. It's, just, I think it's human nature to do that. So it's helpful for me to not watch. And this all came from my heart. So here I did go on YouTube to look at how to draw a feather, simple feather. And I just quickly watched a short and then shut it off and then didn't look at it and then just did it myself. And it didn't come out in on the page, like in the center of the page. It came off like it was like bleeding off the edge of the page. And that's okay. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to leave it that way. I'm going to color it with these Caran d'Ache Neo Color watercolor crayons. And then I'm going to add water to make the watercolor effect. We're going to do this together. And then I'm going to fussy cut the feather and glue it on to one of the journaling cards. And this one will be really special, like symbolize something that I really want to rewrite in my past, that I really want to let go of. the way that it was, and I want to rewrite it into a way that is the way that I would have wanted it to be. So here I'm just going over the pencil drawing with a permanent marker. You could use a Sharpie, any alcohol oil-based marker that does not bleed, that is permanent when you add water. That's very important. Here I'm taking a white eraser and I'm erasing all my pencil marks. If you don't do this, when you end up adding water, it seals like the graphite, or I guess it's graphite in the pencil. It seals it, and you see them. So if that is okay with you, leave them. No worries, no worries, no judgment. I felt like erasing them in this case because I wanted it super pretty and clean and neat. For some reason, I guess this piece just meant that to me. I don't know. I just went with what I wanted here. Okay, don't judge me. But yeah, I didn't want the pencil lines. So I went over with these blues and greens of the Neo Color crayons. And then I took this Princeton Velvet number 2. No, it's a number 4. I'm sorry, it's a number 4 brush. But it doesn't matter. Number 2, number 4, they both do the same job. They're both very small. And I just added clean water. And I'm going over the crayon coloring. And I rotate my brush now and then to give more water. And then when I run out of the water, I dip back into the water to grab more water and continue emulsifying, if that's the right word, mixing the water with the crayon and creating this gorgeous, dreamy, so relaxing effect. So sorry if I'm talking slowly, but it's just so mesmerizing and relaxing. So I really loved doing this. And so what I did here is I went over it with a little bit more of the crayon to intensify the color with a couple of a different of the colors here. With the green, the lighter blue, it's sort of like a cerulean blue, and then this brighter green. And then I go over it again with a little bit more water to give it that dreamy effect. And I'm sorry if this video is long for some people. If people have seen this or know this, and you're still interested in any parts of the video, please just feel free to fast forward. But I'm leaving it in for people that are new. So here I'm checking to see if it's dry, and it was. So I cut it out with scissors, which is called fussy cut. And here I'm taking a cheap Sharpie that's actually called Art Smith. It's like Joanne Fabrics. I think it's their store brand. And I don't have a Sharpie on my desk, so this will do just fine. And the reason for that is to cover up the white edges of the cardstock. When you glue it down, if you see the white on the sides, I don't know, it pops it off the page when it's black. It really separates it. So I'm using some sprays here by Delusions and spraying some of the back of the gold journaling cards that we painted together. They are dry now. You must wait till they're dry, unless you want it to mix. And I haven't tried that, so I don't know what that looks like. So mine was dry, my gold cardstock, well, my gold paint that we did together. And now I'm adding the sprays. I'm continuing to add until I like the finished look. There it is wet. Here it is dry. I also ran it through an embossing machine that I have with an embossing folder to give it that 3D Swiss dot. But here is what the sprays look like on the gold dry. You do not need to run it through an embossing machine if you don't have one. So now I have all our ink blended pieces are here. Our decoupaged napkin pieces are here. I also took the paper that I was cleaning off my ink dauber on, and I decided to use it. Looks so pretty to me. I decided to use it for some of the fronts of the journaling cards. So what I want to do with this paper here is make toppers for each of the journaling cards. And I'm using that gold and sprayed paper that we made together for little tag toppers. And I'm using some white birch that I do this all the time on my channel. Sorry if it's boring, but I just love white birch. I have on my property, and I'm just adding it to the piece of paper just to give it a little bit more layering and a little bit more interest. And use what you have. Use whatever. Use nothing. It doesn't matter. And here I'm simply attaching it with a staple because I'm interested in simplicity here. And I like the way that it looks. So I continue to rip the birch bark, and I continue to make more tags on other cards. So basically I'm going to end up on the backs of these cards rewriting things from my past that I don't want to bury. I want to let go of them, but simply letting go of them for me hasn't worked completely. It seems like I'm just sort of burying in a way. Here I'm punching holes because I'm going to use ribbon here to thread through instead of the other tags, just to mix it up and have some different things. So when it's all together in the spread, it has some interest. It's not all the same. But anyway, so somebody recently taught me, if you are meditating or just walking or sitting quietly or journaling, if you take something from your past that didn't go the way that you wanted it to, or that it hurt you, or you hurt someone, um, you can rewrite it in your mind or rewrite it literally journaling the way that you wanted it to go. You can simply just think about it in your mind, in your heart, the way you wanted it to go. In this case, I'm journaling it on the backs of these cards, the way I wanted some of these things in my life to go. I added gold around the edges of my cards with some Hero Arts paste with a little paintbrush. And on some of the other cards, I added the same ink colors we've been working with. Now we're back to the journal, and we're going to take everything we made and apply it to the spread that we found earlier. So that's the purpose here for me, is to take all of these cards, rewrite things from my past that are hurtful to me or troubling to me or I'm saddened about, or grief. If anybody's dealing with grief, especially around the holidays, it is December 9th today, 2023. There are holidays around this time for a lot of people. People may have lost people. I recently lost my mom. This is the first. She loved Christmas. I have to say she did celebrate Christmas and loved it. So it's hard for me. This is the first Christmas without her for me. I also lost her on my birthday, which is coming up. So I have a lot of firsts here for me. So I'm happy with the way these came out. We're going to glue that feather down. And I'm using Fabrifix. And because the way I drew it was off the page, so to speak, if you saw that part of the video, I'm gluing it off the page. Bleeding off the edge, I think professionals call this. I once had a business card created, and they called a technique I wanted bleeding off the edge. So anyway, so I that part of my drawing didn't come out because I didn't have paper, and that is on the video. If you didn't see it, you could go back. And so I'm gluing it down off the edge for this very reason. And it looks asymmetrical. It looks awesome. It's out of my comfort zone. How cool is that? I'm new to drawing, and I wanted the drawing in the center of the page, but it didn't. And I love it. I love that it came out asymmetrically. It's this is what happens when you jump out of your comfort zone, I think. You change, you evolve, you let go. So here I'm gluing down the tuxedo pocket to create the tuxedo pocket. And I just want to kind of finish up earlier in case I didn't. So things that I need to be happier about or be more settled with in my life. I'm journaling all of these things on the backs of these cards, the way that I wanted these things to go in my life. And I've been told that this is incredibly helpful to settle any discomfort or sadness or any feelings of suffering you may have from anything, any discord you may feel. I've been told this is very helpful to sort of change. Our brains can be retold how to remember. And if you take it and put it into your heart, it's so important, and that's what really can rewrite the story. So like I said, you can do this by meditating, just sitting quietly. You can do it journaling, which I'm going to do it with journaling. So here I'm making a belly band so that I can keep one of my pockets secure. I'm inking the edges. I'm going to glue down this. Yes, I'm deciding to add a little bit of what I did earlier to clean off my papers and to have some fun. But I'm gluing down the edge there by the seam in the journal. And on the other edge, I'm going to staple it. Make sure your pocket fits first before you fasten. And she fits. So now, this was on the other page. I'm going to put this back. I have a video on this page in case you didn't see it, and a tutorial on how I did it. So back to where we were, I'm going to add some ink to the spread of this page, and I'm adding a little bit of gold here because I just wanted to add a little bit. This was the paste I was mentioning earlier, the Hero Arts paste. I want to tell you, I mention all the names of these products because I really appreciated knowing what things were when I was learning. I don't endorse any of these things. I don't sell these things. I don't work for these companies. I find it frustrating when you don't know what works well. And I find it loving when people share with you what they use because it works well. So that's why I share all this with you so that you know. Sharing is caring. So I glued that pocket down to make a permanent pocket and put one of the cards on the side. And my journal's getting pretty thick here. So I'm going to have to create a separate spine in the end, which we will do on camera because I'm creating a series of different parts so that you know how to make a journal from start to finish. So a quick little flip through. I have videos on these already, but this is how it's turning out so far. Just in case you haven't seen any of the previous flip through of the other videos. But the other videos, I take each of the pages apart and explain how I made them. And here's areas I haven't decorated yet. And nothing has been sewn in yet. I'm sorry if I haven't mentioned that earlier. I mentioned it on other videos. We will sew all of these signatures, aka pages, they're signatures that we make I've explained that in my first video. We will sew them all in together in the end. Here's the one we just made together. So there's one of the decoupaged marbled napkin journaling cards I'll write on the back here on the gold. There's a space here for more. And here is the tuxedo pocket with the feather. There's the lapel of the tuxedo. There's another little pocket. You could make a shorter journaling card to put in there, and then that way you can see the lapel. I realized this afterward. The things we learn. And so here's the other pocket, the third pocket, and the other journaling cards. And like I said, that was my paper that I clean off my tools and my brush on. And I thought it looked so gorgeous. And here's some of the ink blended papers. And here is a journal that's coming up in the future. It's my winter journal. And I just wanted to give you a quick flip through. It's not finished by any means. We're going to make it all together on camera. I have videos coming up on it. The whole thing, picking the papers, sewing them in, deconstructing the book, how I dyed my papers, everything. It's very neutral. I really wanted to keep it winter colors. Here's an old Christmas card that I had. Here's some coffee dyed papers that I made. Here's one spread. I've only made one spread so far. Here's a journaling tag I made. All of these things I have videos on for you later. So just a little flip through of an upcoming journal. Winter garden. All winter colors to fill up with winter thoughts. And I absolutely love the lady slipper. And I dream about it in the winter. And that's why I included it in my winter journal. And I love planning my gardens in the winter, which is why I included some of these garden plans here. More coffee dyed, some pretty metallic scrapbook papers, more coffee dyed paper, book pages, and some ink dyed papers I made with salt. I used some coarse salt here to get those cool effects. Some old book pages with a pocket. Pages I need to color up, scrapbook paper. Parchment paper, a new signature here. This journal has 3 signatures. Some recipes I love to bake in the winter. More of the salt effects on my dyed papers. Some packaging I got from a store that they wrapped up something breakable in. I made a little pocket with it. Coffee dyed paper, center page here with a book page. Old book pages. More of the ink, no, those are, yeah, that's the ink dyed papers. And those are coffee dyed. And the last signature in the back of the journal. Here's the old tape that came with the book. I loved that. And I sewed it all in with some waxed thread, heavy waxed thread. It's really leather, actually, but it's waxed. Here's a card I deconstructed that I'm going to end up using for the front cover with something really special on top. I don't know what yet. And here's an envelope that I ink dyed and used some salt in a doily. And an envelope that my stamp didn't come out with my return address that well, so it's going to go in my junk journal for winter. A greeting card that I deconstructed because I absolutely loved the part of the mulberry paper. More parts of that front cover that I deconstructed that will also get used. Some old black scrap paper I had that I love. I love black as a neutral. I use black as a neutral quite frequently. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your interest. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad you're here. It means the world to me. It really, really does.